Aloha everybody, aloha from Melbourne. Sunny but chilly Melbourne. It's been a while since I've created a video, but I did promise everybody that I'll jump back online and create a video to talk about my experience in Southeast Asia. In today's video I do have some hints and tips and some of the thoughts that I had given towards ensuring that my trip turns out to be a little bit more comfortable and enjoyable, and I just wanted to share them with you today in order to possibly help you guys make the right decisions or be a bit more empowered when on your next trip. But obviously before I do all that, I want to show you some views. Good morning, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, we have some friendly people around here saying good morning. So before I get to that, I've been back in Melbourne for about 3 weeks now, and it's been quite cold, and today's probably one of the few days where there's been some sunshine. So I've just come out and come for a walk in my local area, but the hints and tips that I have, or considerations I should more so say, in relation to if you are thinking to go to Asia and to enjoy your holiday in Asia, I have some considerations for you. Number one, your accommodation. Your accommodation is crucial to how your holiday or vacation is going to turn out. You may not be after the comfort features, but some people do like going ahead and staying in luxurious accommodation. But for people who don't choose to go ahead and stay in 5-star accommodation, you really need to tick some boxes with your accommodation to make it more enjoyable. And the first thing that you should consider is aircon, AC. Asia is hot. It's very hot. And basically, if you don't consider air condition to be one of the, wouldn't say comfort features, but one of the essentials to your accommodation, you could be in trouble. There's a lot of cheaper accommodation available in the fan rooms, as they call them, in Asia. So you could hire a room or a place to stay without air conditioning, but you'll probably struggle. You'll have a tough time because it gets quite hot. And if you've also got devices, like if you're carrying a laptop with you or a mobile phone and you want to use those items or devices, and your room is 40 degrees and there's no ventilation and there's no balcony and there's nowhere to actually allow a bit of airflow into your room, you're going to be in trouble. Your devices will overheat and you will overheat eventually as well. So my advice to you is, if it's going to cost a few extra dollars, a few measly dollars to get a room with air conditioning, do it, because it will be worth it. Particularly if you don't have a balcony or you don't have some kind of airflow coming in to your room. If you're across the road from the beach, or you're actually in a place where there's a breeze and you know that it's generally cool and there could be some airflow, look, that could be an exception, but I'd highly recommend air conditioning. Convenience stores, exactly that. It's convenient. Make sure you choose some accommodation wherever you're staying that is close to a convenience store. Any type of mini mart, 7-Eleven, no-name store, you name it, as long as it's around the corner or downstairs and in walking distance. If not, you know what's going to happen? You're going to wake up at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you've got no water, and then there's nowhere in sight to go and buy a bottle of water. And not only that, you want to brush your teeth, you can't use the tap water. You'll basically need to have maybe a litre of water in a bottle that you leave in the bathroom, and you use that. That's what I used to do. I used to go out and buy 2 1-litre bottles. One would be beside my bed and the other one would be in the bathroom for me to wash my teeth, rinse my mouth, etc. Very important. But it's not just about the water, and it's not just about the convenience. You'll also need to have quick access to other things like sanitary items, for example, even things like washing powder. You're not going to be able to get your clothes to a washing machine or someone to wash your clothes every day. You need to have washing powder with you, a few sachets. So basically, if you need to wash your clothes, you can do it that night in the shower, leave it out to dry on the balcony, or anywhere in the room, on top of a rack somewhere, ready for you to use again in the morning. Because if you're to go and find the washing machine and pay and try and find someone to wash and iron your clothes every day, probably not feasible, because Asia's hot, you're always sweating, there's a lot of pollution in the air in certain areas, in certain cities, and then when you do wash your clothes, you'll realize that there's a lot of black stuff coming out of your clothes, a lot of dirt and grime that's in the air. So you'll need to allocate time to wash your clothes every night and hang it out to dry, ready for you to wear in the morning or the next day, without having to run around and drop your clothes off and pay money all the time to get it washed. So things like water, sanitary products, washing powder, essentials on the trip. If you're hungry and in the mornings you don't have breakfast in your part of your accommodation, you'll need to eat something. You shouldn't be skipping breakfast, and things like being able to get a banana, or being able to get like a small tub of yogurt or a bottle of water to start your day are very important. I can't express how important it is to eat something in the mornings and not skip breakfast, particularly when you're traveling and you're exerting all of that energy and you're in a foreign place with foreign interacting with foreign objects and obviously foreign germs that aren't native to your body. You need to eat to keep your immune system up, or else you can actually get sick. Highly important. So I used to start my day in Asia with a banana, a small bottle of kombucha, and a small bottle of a yogurt drink, something like a Yakult, in order to kind of keep the good bacteria up in my stomach, and to keep my immune system up, as well as my energy with the banana. And then I'd start my day. Needless to say, I'll get a bottle of water as well. That's also important to stay hydrated. But the importance of eating and drinking while you're abroad is just, yeah, it's so important. So I wouldn't skip breakfast, and I'd be sure to be close to a convenience store like a 7-Eleven or a mini mart in order to buy these types of objects. And even better, if there's street vendors and they're selling fruit, go and buy fruit. Go and buy an orange, go and buy a mandarin, go and buy an apple, get your vitamin C, get your vitamins through the fruit. Very important. Your accommodation, make sure that there's a communal area, or at least a place where you could see other people and chat to other travelers or people passing by. It may not even be a communal area. When I was in Cambodia, I simply hired a place that was a guest house, but it had a few chairs at the front of the guest house where people would regularly sit, and then people will start communicating with each other. Great way to spark up a conversation, say hi, and just meet new or other travelers and even locals. A few times I was sitting there enjoying a drink, and then people will walk past and say hi because you're a foreigner. It just provides that platform in order to connect with others, and it's and you don't feel as isolated in your room, and it also encourages you to come out and sit outside and hopefully meet new people as well. So when you're choosing your next accommodation while you're traveling throughout Southeast Asia, put that into consideration. Is there a communal spot where I can go and sit and chat with people? Okay, while you're traveling, there are many modes of transport to use while traveling in Asia. In some more of the developed countries like Thailand, in particular when you're traveling in Bangkok, there's the MRT, so you can use the train system, you can use tuk-tuks, you can use taxis, and you can use ride-sharing taxis as well, such as Grab, and I think there's a few others, but I just used to use Grab. You have a lot of options, but sometimes in other countries where public transport is not as readily available, you may need to use taxis more often, or ride-sharing taxis. So once again, you might want to download a few apps like the Grab app. I used that throughout Southeast Asia. It worked in all of the countries that I went to. It worked in Indonesia. It worked in Cambodia. It worked in Malaysia. It worked in Thailand. And the great thing about the Grab app was it's quite handy in the sense that it gives you an understanding of how much a fare should cost to a particular place. So what I would do is I would use the app to get an understanding of roughly how much I should pay in order to get to a particular destination. And then if I ever chose to use a tuk-tuk or use a taxi or a moped, I would be able to bargain and base my bargaining power on that price. A few times I even clarified that price with some other taxis that I chose to use, because the Grab app was actually it was saying that, you know, there's a 10-15 minute delay and I wanted to get to my location quicker. So there was taxis around. So I just walked up to a taxi and said, look, this is where I want to go to. I bargained the price and I said, look, you know, with a Grab it's X amount of baht or rupiah. And then that gave me some bargaining power in order to get the best price for me to get to my destination. So it was pretty handy in that sense, and it worked really well. And secondly, an advantage of these ride-sharing taxis is also that there's a safety feature when you use the Grab app, for example. So if you are in a car with a driver and you're in a foreign environment and you're not feeling safe, or you're feeling a little bit anxious, you can also enable the safety feature using the app. And then and basically what that does is it activates the camera microphone, and then what that does is the app listens into the drive that you're having up to your destination, and then that provides you a sense of safety. A few times I got stuck in traffic, and when I enabled the safety feature of the app, because there was no movement in the car for a while, it actually was texting me and asking me if everything was okay, and it was prompting me to click either yes or no, because it recognized that we weren't moving in the car and it was checking up on my safety. So for people who are a little bit concerned or a little bit anxious about traveling, this is just a bit of a safety net to allow people to feel a bit more relaxed when they're traveling around in a foreign environment. Don't get me wrong, I felt quite relaxed throughout the whole trip. At no point did I ever feel unsafe, but I see this as a great feature to encourage people to travel and be a bit more adventurous in foreign lands, and something like this feature in the Grab app goes a long way. So definitely a great little feature to use. We all can't let go of our mobile phones, our smart devices, and I'm sure that you're going to want to be connected to the World Wide Web while you're in a foreign land, whether you're in Southeast Asia or wherever you are in the world. And therefore, what I do recommend is not to bring your SIM from your own country. And what I do recommend is not to use the SIM card of your own country, particularly from Australia. It gets quite expensive, so I'd recommend that you use the SIM card of the country that you're in. So for example, what I did was I just used to acquire a SIM card on entry when I used to land at the airport in all of the Southeast Asian countries, and sign up to a tourist SIM card, which gave me unlimited data, or at times much more data than I could possibly use for the 5 or 6 or 10 days that I was traveling for. And at least this way, when I was out on the streets, or when I was out in areas where there was no public Wi-Fi, e.g. at my hotel, if I wasn't at my hotel and I was out somewhere else, I can quickly log in and activate my Google Maps and see where I am, and then I can be empowered to make decisions such as choosing to walk to my next destination, or making a reservation using one of the ride-sharing applications. So look, internet, in my opinion, and internet on your phone or your device is your best friend. It allows you to navigate, it allows you to conduct your business, transfer money, etc. It allows you to stay in contact and send messages to your friends, obviously, while you are abroad. So I think it's a great opportunity to utilize such good deals with the local SIM cards that are available in these countries. And it also allows you to stay in touch as well with your family and friends back home, and you don't feel isolated, and at the same time you don't pay the exorbitant rates that are charged by using SIM cards from your native country. So do yourself a favor, take your other SIM card with you, leave it in your wallet, or put it somewhere where it's accessible, and periodically you can put your SIM card back in, your native SIM card back into your phone, check your messages, and then basically put the new SIM card in there, and remain in touch with your family and friends, and conduct your business as you go along. What I also did was I was able to connect from my laptop device to my smartphone device and use the internet to conduct in-person video conferencing, conversations, and basically do what I normally do on my laptop without any problem. So the rate at which the internet traffic worked and the speed was fantastic, and I didn't have any problems with connecting my laptop to my smartphone using the new SIM card to access the internet, and even uploading my videos to YouTube and processing downloads and uploads to other various sites. It all worked fine. So the internet in Southeast Asia was great, probably if not better than what we have in Australia. Banks, you'll need access to money. ATMs are really important. My advice is not to withdraw your money from any random ATM, but see if you can get to an ATM that is connected to a bank. And why do I say that? And I say that because if you have a problem with your card and your card gets stuck in an ATM, and it's a random ATM, a singular ATM, not connected to a bank, you can't talk to anyone. There will be absolutely nobody to reach out to in order to get your card back out. Therefore, if you use an ATM that is connected to a bank and there is people in the bank, if something goes wrong, you can run inside and say, hey, this ATM right here has gobbled up my card. Please help me. Very important. Just another thing to keep in mind. I've seen that happen to people. Their card gets swallowed up and then they've got no money for the rest of the trip, and they're going to rely on Western Union or some other kind of direct fund transfer. It's a nightmare. Okay guys, I can't stress this point enough. What you need to do is, before you go on your trip to Southeast Asia, please print everything out. Print out your itinerary, print out your travel insurance, print out your flight details, print everything out, because I'll tell you one thing, they being customs officers and people working in airports around Southeast Asia, they don't like looking on your phone. They don't want you to hand your phone over to see itinerary, to see flight information. They don't want to see that. They want to see paper with your name, details, flight numbers, you name it, all stipulated on a piece of paper. I don't know why. even though a lot of the carriers and a lot of the hotels and the booking systems and websites all give you a digital format of your confirmation to stay somewhere or at an accommodation or to fly on a carrier, the preference, particularly in airports, is to have everything printed out on paper. I had an incident in Bangkok airport where I didn't do that, and I had to log into the particular carrier's website and then physically show them that I'm logging into the website and that I've booked everything, and walk through the steps of showing them my itinerary. And if you don't have internet and you're in a rush to catch a plane and you're in the airport, you're going to be in trouble. Like, you know, this can really hold you up. After that incident, I printed everything. I had it with me. As soon as I walked through the gates, I showed my particular confirmations, all on paper with the barcodes, etc. I also had the digital version on my phone as well as a backup, but I found that went a long way. And even in customs, you know, I had everything printed, including my, you know, my travel certificates and what have you, like, you know, my insurance and so forth, and it all worked a treat. So please, I can't stress enough, do print out everything on pieces of paper in an A4, probably loose leaf folder. Carry it with you and then use that. Even now, I'm about to head off to the local printer in order to print off all of my flight details and itinerary, and just have it in a little pocket, plastic pocket that I can carry with me, and make sure you don't lose it. And if you do, you'll probably have to try and print another copy, and maybe store the files on your phone, along with copies or a photo of your passport and any other travel documents as a backup. Keep that on your phone as a backup at all times, and that probably goes without saying. So please, please, please print everything, and then your trip will be a lot more smoother. All right, everybody, I hope you've liked my recommendations. These are definitely some things to think about before your next trip, and some things to action during your trip. These are the items that got me over the line and made my trip successful. I made this video today to share them with you, hopefully to add to your knowledge. You might already know about these items, you might have already made these considerations. If not, please consider them, and hopefully it all contributes to your next trip being a safe trip and a great trip. I will be going on a trip later this week, so stay tuned to my latest videos. Please like, subscribe and comment on my videos. My aim is to share my travel experiences with you and hopefully make life better for yourself and others. So please like, share and comment on my videos, and I look forward to seeing you all from the next destination, which is not too far away. Adios.